morning. First up, before we get into the stream, let me just turn the game sounds down. First up, before we get into the stream, just want to take a moment and remember events of 20 years ago. I've got a photo open there because 20 years ago I worked in smart card fare collection systems and I was doing a project in San Francisco. 1 year earlier than events to the day, I did a trip to New York, a fact-finding trip with MTA, and met a couple of colleagues there. Those colleagues worked in this building. They don't anymore. So I just thought I'd mention that. Something that tends to come up every year. But anyway, let's get going. Yes, I want to quit Lightroom. No, I don't want to back it up either. All right, so on to happier things. We're looking at Riesa Dresden today, and I will be attempting to follow my PZB cheat sheet, and hopefully we'll have a good run. We shall see, won't we? So I'll be trying to use PZB with everything. So the route is out. It's pretty clear. Now, hopefully the stream is actually working okay, because YouTube's popped up a thing that says I need to change the video resolution because I'm on ultra low latency, so I can run background chat with some people, but there's no one in the background chat today because Michael can't be with us, and it doesn't look like Roy is here. You can jump into the usual chat if you want, Roy. Turn it back on because it's up and running if you want to get in there. In fact, there you are. Good morning, Roy. Roy will hear that shortly. I need to disable that microphone or it's going to echo. Okay, so when you start hearing it, Roy, say hello. Hopefully my sound's actually going out on the stream. Looks like it is. But anyway, let's keep going. You should be able to talk, Roy, if you are.
I am trying to talk.
Woohoo! I've turned you up loud enough to hear you.
Trying to talk.
Okay, we've got you, Roy. It'll be about 5 seconds.
Thank you.
It'll be about 5 seconds. We're on delay. Anyway, we're looking at Riesa Dresden in Train Sim World 2. And this came out on Thursday UK time, Friday Australian time. And we're going to be running three things today. We're going to be running a scenario which involves two locomotives, which is a bit unusual for a scenario, but this one's got two, which is kind of cool. It's a new concept from DTG. We're going to have a look at then two commuter services. I'm going to attempt to run them with PZB and CIFA turned on, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get it right, and maybe I won't. I did watch DTG Matt's stream on PZB, and I have driven PZB before, but not well. And I've got this thing which I found, funnily enough, on the internet, and it's a PZB cheat sheet of what you should do with PZB. And I've also got another cheat sheet for the HL signaling, which is on this line. So hopefully, with all of that, we'll get somewhere useful. All right then, so let's get started. Just while we have a look at the route, it's got a few bugs, nothing really earth-shattering. Some people are reporting crashes. I've had one, but I have to admit I was doing something stupid. And it probably didn't like that very much. That's okay. May or may not revolve around mods. But for the most part, it actually seems to be pretty good. The only serious player issue I've found is sometimes when you do 363 services, you spawn into a station other than where the train is. And that's usually at the other end of the route from where the train is. So I did actually try catching a train to the other end to then catch my train, but of course it had given up on me by then. That's okay. So you get a lot of locos with this route, although not all of them actually come with it. I think the 101 and the 406 are layering in from somewhere else, because if you look at them in the rail driver settings, they are not from this route. So in advanced controls for rail driver, if we search for DRA, there are only 3 locos with the route. So there's the 143, which I won't be driving today because I'm not afraid to admit I hate that thing. And there's the 762, which is it a loco or is it a cab car? That's a question. And there's the 363, which is the little shunter, which is actually quite cool. Anyway, let's just jump out of the controls before I accidentally change something, because that would suck. And we'll have a look at the services that are available, because I imagine people want to do that. So let's just jump in and have a look at passenger services. There's a lot. So you're not going to run out of stuff to do in a hurry on Dresden. There's plenty to do. So most of these will go into the backlog. And as Roy knows from our workplace, backlogs. Anyway, let's jump into what we're actually supposed to be doing today.
That never gets done.
One day they will. So we're going to do a scenario called Chemical Plant Zone, which naturally enough I have played because I wanted to make sure it works, because I didn't want to demo one that didn't work. So let's jump in here. Now this one's a little bit different because your train is top and tailed and you've got the little shunter on the back which you need to use in the second part of the scenario. And I have to say, whoever built a chemical plant on a 1 in 4 gradient, nutty. Just a little bit nutty. But that's okay. So let's have a quick look outside. So we'll be driving this beastie, which is the 185. You know, it kind of reminds me of Darth Vader's helmet. Or maybe Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. It's probably Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. That's more like it. And if we go at the other end, we've got the other little beast. The little 363 shunter. So we'll see more of that later on. Looks like someone's been jumping up and down on the roof of this one. That's a bit rough. But anyway, let's jump back in the cab. Let's start setting this fella up. So
Hail damage.
Could be hail damage. So let's get the reverser in and get it to neutral. Should put some lights on so we can see. Pantograph up. I think it already is up, but anyway. And train line power. We need to go to headlights reduced. That's fine. We don't want a desk light on anymore. But what we do want to do is up here. So LZB, the things I just turned on, LZB actually doesn't apply on this route, so I don't know why I bother turning it on. But anyway, LZB is automated train driving based on signalling and comms for the central server. PZB is the one we'll be using today, so if you do naughty things, PZB whacks you. That's the best way to describe it. And CIFA, which is just the train's way of making sure you're actually awake. There's a bunch of stuff over here. We're already on headlights, that's fine. Parking brake we will release. And I think those things should all be fine. Our pantograph should be up, and it is. And now we need to turn on AFB.
RFB.
Noisy little beast, isn't it? So all that does is let me control the train speed in a simpler way. So let's just turn on the main cab lights with different controls. We've got a direct brake, which is currently released. We have our main brakes, which are on slightly. Now this is a big change in here from previous. When you come in with rail driver into a locomotive in the past, that locomotive would be set up however it wanted to be, but now it actually reflects the rail driver as you come in. So the brakes are on, because on my rail driver, the brakes are on. That's really cool. I like that. We've got door controls, I think. No. Yes, passenger door controls, but we don't have any passengers, so that's so far. We've got a big ugly button. Can't imagine you'd really want to press that for CIFA. I think there's supposed to be a foot pedal down there somewhere for reality. All right, let's get moving. So if we go into forwards, and we've got PZB on. We're not in monitoring because I've sat here and yacked for so long that it's actually come out of monitoring. And we have got a signal that means we can go. I'll have to acknowledge that signal because it's not a straight green. So just because I think it'll go into monitoring the second we start moving, I'm going to set this for 40 kilometers an hour. So I've set the speed with the AFB lever. Don't think I need to do anything to turn AFB on further than what I have in this loco. And we release the brakes, but you notice they don't actually release yet. And then we put some throttle on. And we start powering. A little blue bar's coming up there in the kilonewtons display. Once it reaches 10, the brakes should start to go off. They are. And off we go. And we are indeed in monitoring. You can see that with a 70 flashing. And I've just acknowledged that signal. I'll try to explain what I'm doing with PZB, both for my own benefit, to hopefully actually get it right, and for people who are watching who may be trying to learn PZB. You'll also know we're running without the HUD. Now that signal's on the left-hand side, so I can ignore it, because my signals are on the right-hand side. This one's lit but does not have a magnet, so I can just go through it. That's the CFA warning system, making sure I'm awake. Now we're still in monitoring. You can see that from the 70 flashing down there, and this train kindly tells me I have to do 45 kilometers an hour or less, which makes using PZB a little bit easier. Let me just turn off the cab lights. It's a bit easier to see outside because it's not quite light yet out there. Lighting on this route, I think a big improvement over the other routes. I kind of like it. Outside of stations, it can be a little bit interesting, but that's all of them. And I think night lighting is something in general that DTG still need to work on. I don't need to acknowledge this signal because it's green. And we are now leaving Riesa, and that's Riesa W3 signal box. In the pre-stream, I made a bit of a lead-in video because I thought it was just interesting to show off some of the different things in this route. And I have to say, I found a way out of the world here where you could get through the invisible walls. So if you go to the end of this bridge, and you can't do it on this right-hand side, but if you go up there, and I'll just show you with the cursor, if you go up there on the left-hand end of that bridge, you can walk back this way and you fall off down to where the river is, which is kind of cool, because then you can get to places where they didn't intend you to. Now, we're allowed to speed up now, and the back of our train should be past that 120 zone, so we can start speeding up. We're not in monitoring. I'm just going to take it up to 80 for the moment, and when the back of our train passes that sign that we saw on the left, I will actually no, I won't go above 80 this trip. Just remember that we've got the little thing on the back. It's not allowed to go above 80 kilometers an hour, and even then it's going to be tearing itself a new one. Let's go look at the poor thing. Can't quite see it because the light's bad. You are over speeding. Oh no. Oh, better slow down. And CFA. Actually, I wasn't over speeding. I was doing 75 on AFB. Come on, game. Get with it. Ah, well. Anyway, let's do 70. And CFA popped its head up again there. Now, when you're playing PZB and you're playing HUD free, you actually kind of need to watch what's going on. So these boards, we see the 3, the 2, and the 1. Those boards are reminding you that there is a signal coming up. And I have noticed that CFA seems to be timed to pop up right before the signal, so you look down at your dash just at the time that you should be looking at the signal. Now that last one was green, so I didn't actually have to do anything about it. I'm told Germans don't honk at road crossings, so I didn't. So we'll just cruise along here. Because we're running PZB, I'll do less outside camera work today because I do have to pay attention, but after we've done a CFA, and I can see this signal's green, so I don't need to do anything, so we can have a bit of a look outside. So we've got a whole bunch of tank cars, which we're taking to a chemical plant. And the little 363. Look at that poor thing go. Have another signal coming up on our right here. I don't need to acknowledge that because it's green. Which you notice it turned red just as we went past it, which is how it's meant to work.
CFA.
There's our little vigilance again with CFA. I haven't looked up what CFA actually means in German. If anybody in chat wants to do that, feel free. There's a few people watching today. If we took the Japanese approach, where you would point at the signals and call it. Their drivers do that. And on the preserve railway I'm on, we don't point at them, but we do call them to each other. It's just good to have two people have a look at a signal and make sure that they both agree that it's what it's saying. Because even on our little railway, running the red would be highly problematic. Would have dire consequences, because while we're a little preserved railway, we run essentially the same safety environment as any railway. Safety driving switch. Excellent, Roy. Thank you. We have a yellow signal, which means I have to acknowledge it and I have to slow down. So we're under 1,000 hertz, which means I need... This wants me to get down to 70, which is okay. Oops. I ignored C for too long. Come on. And we can go back up to 70, apparently. I thought we had to do 45 when I had 1,000 hertz and a 70, but the train's telling me to do 70, so... We'll let it speed up a little bit again. We're almost at the chemical plant anyway. I think. Yeah, not far off. While I don't think the Dresden route has an enormous amount more trains than the other routes, so does it deserve the rush hour title? It's hard to say. If you wander around on foot, you certainly don't see very many. But it does have a lot of yellow and red signals, and in fact, is this... It is red. Ah, it's just gone green, look at that. So we can go again. We're obviously following someone. Hello, Sifa. There's a lot of people on the platforms, that's for sure. They always seem to be waiting in vain. I did find out one of the other German words that the train yells at me from time to time. Particularly the ICE 403 and ICE 406 yell this at me all the time, which is Zangbremsung, which means emergency braking, which essentially means you screwed up, Jack. Here's something else coming, so we'll pop out and watch that go past, since I can't see any signals coming up. We'll be driving one of those later. Oh, this one lets you press the CIFA button when you're not in the cab too, which is nice. You can see the stacks of the chemical plant coming up on the right there in the distance. Visually, I think this route's pretty good.
Sifa Zwangsbremsung.
And that was about to invoke emergency braking. This one seems to be pretty quick on putting the brakes on. Others seem to give you a bit more time. So you get 2.5 seconds with the light on, which turns up on the console just above the T there. And then it says CIFA 2 or 3 times, which takes about a second. And then it puts the brakes on, which is a bit quick if you're not watching the console.
Sifa.
I just realised it wasn't powering. There we go. I'm sitting there thinking, why is it slowing down? It's because CIFA went off before and I didn't reset the throttle. At least I can figure out what it is.
Sifa.
Got our 3 boards reminding us there's a signal coming, and this one is green. Just adjust the AFB again. This one uses the rail driver direct brake for AFB. They seem to have standardized on that now, which is good. They're using that for AFB in any loco that's got it. It does mean you don't have a direct brake anymore, but that's okay.
Sifa.
Just going for a little cruise in the countryside here. With our tanks of noxious goo. And that is a yellow signal, so I will start slowing down to 40 kilometers an hour.
Sifa. Zugbeeinflussung. Sifa Zwangsbremsung.
Wait, stop it. Too much going on at once. We are almost at the plant entry. Why aren't you powering, Mr. Sifa? You stopped me, didn't you, bastard? That's okay, because we need to take a siding just up here anyway. So I won't be going up to 70 kilometers an hour. Yeah, it's raining as well. Listen to that. A windscreen wiper that clearly sounds like a windscreen wiper, but you can hardly hear it. Well done, Dovetail. About time.
Sifa.
Coming off the main into the chemical plant siding.
Sifa.
I'll have to acknowledge this magnet we're coming up to,
Zugbeeinflussung.
because we're now at a 500 hertz, and if I hadn't acknowledged it, it would stop me, because there's a red signal just up here. We can power off now anyway.
Sifa.
Hopefully that's within tolerances. Appears to be. Now we're going to be leaving this cab in a moment, but I've learnt with DTG scenarios, wait for the instructions. Okay, we're going to uncouple the 185 and use the 363 to deliver the tankers and collect the next set. Let's put reduced. Set the reverser to off.
Zugbeeinflussung.
And let's turn off AFB. Got some brakes on. Let's put the direct brake on as well, because we're not shutting this train down apparently. I won't put the parking brake on because I'll forget when I come back. No, I don't want to climb up. I want to shut the door. Alright, down we go. And I would pick right down the dark side, wouldn't I? Naturally enough, ladies and gentlemen, don't walk down the middle of the track. You have to love Germans. See, to stop you walking into this, they put a big bar around it, so you walk into the big bar instead. Did I uncouple that? Dummy! I didn't uncouple it. Nope. Too much talking, not enough doing. At least I remembered and didn't drag the loco in there. That would have been amusing. Alright. Kerplunk. I have noticed that sometimes the intermediate cars aren't actually coupled together, even though they travel along as a train. Let's see if these ones are. Yeah, they are. You can see the bar through there. Only just because it's dark, but you can see it. Alrighty, let's climb up in the little 363. This is a little awkward. This is a diesel hydraulic side rod locomotive. Right. So let's have a look around at the little beast. We have got a remote control, but it doesn't seem to be something that you can use. A whole lot of other controls that we don't touch. It's got dual drivers controls on the left side and the right side. It does have PZB, but I won't be turning that on today. Let's jump in the chair. And our brakes are on. That one's released. Now we need to turn on the master key. Bit of headlights. Now this is telling it which side I want to drive from. Now let's put the cab light on in here, because we're not going to be able to see what we're doing otherwise. Now it wants to set the reverser to forward, which is this thing down here, but we'll use the rail driver. Now the throttle in this is a bit weird. So it's released 100%, and we want to, this is a lapping brake, so we're just going to put that into hold, because it can be applied or it can be released. And the direct brake, we want to set that to driving. Oops, wrong way. It's backwards on the rail driver, you notice that? It gives me the shits. Alright. It just completely gives me the shits, because it's so easy to go into emergency, because on the rail driver, there's a little detent right here, which stops you accidentally going into emergency. But because these, I'm going to call them clowns, have decided to put it on backwards, good on you guys, then, that's okay. So we're going to proceed into the chemical siding and need some wipers. Do we actually have a signal to go in there? Can't see. Let's have a look outside. We're starting to roll anyway. Now, interestingly, a hydraulic locomotive, would it roll? Probably not. Okay, we have got a signal to go in, that's fine. Now, I'm not turning on BZB in this thing because we're going inside the plant and it doesn't have it. But let's have a play with the throttle, because it's a clicky throttle, which means you pull it to increase and then you go back to hold. Increase, hold. And the other way is decrease, hold. So I guess if you're an Australian railway person, it's a little bit like a CLF. So it's a strange sort of throttle. Now this is the only place where I would have to acknowledge PZB if I had it turned on with this signal, but I don't, so I don't need to. And we're already picking up quite a bit of speed. Up to 20 kilometres an hour, even though we're not trying very hard. The only gauge on this thing that doesn't work is the one out there, which I assume is supposed to be a temperature gauge on the radiator, but it has got temperature in here. These work, I've seen these change. The pressure on the hydraulic does change. And the RPM counter changes, you can see that moving there. Helps if I put the instrument lights on. Which side's the sun on? That's better. So this reminds me a lot. I love it how it reacts when it hits poles, because in theory this camera is hanging out on a boom outside the loco. But this little loco reminds me a lot of the BR Gronk. And we are going just a little bit quick. Just a little bit quick, because we're doing 50 kilometers an hour. I don't think we want to be doing 50 kilometers an hour somehow. Now we're sliding. Lock them up. Backwards again. Release. Now the reason it picked up speed so much, if I just turn this on for a moment. Here it's 0.5%. Back up there it's 1.4%. What nutty people. Alright, now I want to have a look before we get moving at the map to make sure that our points are set right. They would appear to be, because they're manual points, but the game seems to be setting them anyway. Interestingly, they're backwards. Let's go have a look at that, just to show you what I mean. So if you look at that, it's saying, I want to go through straight, but the points are actually set the other way. So if I flip this thing over, now it's saying you're going to go on the diverging road, but you're not. You're going to go straight. That would be a bug. Now, they're not all like that. Just the ones in this plant seems to be backwards. So whoever modelled the plant didn't do it too well. All right, let's release the brakes and let's get moving again. And I'm told Germans don't honk in sidings. See, the brakes are slowly coming off there on this gauge. Kind of hoping I could put on a light, but I can't. It's quite a nicely modelled plant. It's sad that they don't let you walk through most of it, because you could have a good look, but the incredible amount of work that someone's put into it. Because the modelling in this is just amazing. There's such an enormous amount of work go into this. And you can fly into it with the 8 cam, but that's about as far as you can get. So all that nice modelling work you can't even see. Assuming there is nice modelling work behind the buildings. Let's come and sit up here, which would be about 112 metres. Watch our train come in. And hopefully not get run over by it. So Roy, are you flying while you're watching this?
Definitely not.
Why not? If you were streaming a flight, I'd be driving a train. When are you going to start streaming flights?
Watch YouTube whilst flying.
Granted, on German railways, you can't do that. And on the American railways that have got ATCS and Axis implemented, you can't do it on them either, because if you do, you discover your train stops in an awful hurry. But most of the other trains, you pay so little attention to what you're doing, you actually can watch YouTube. Now, I have to say, Dovetail, this is not a clever place to stop a train, because we're going to be stopping in a moment. But look at that little road up there. We're going to leave it blocked with train carriages.
Those people can wait.
Well, we're going to leave the carriages here, so they can wait a long time. Alright. Now, uncoupled, and we also want to raise the coupler. It doesn't want us to raise the coupler. That's okay. Backwards. Stop it. Okay. And away we go. Come on. Enough throttle to move. Let's get our little toy train moving. I've got the light on in there again. Did just notice something I have to fix. It's kind of on the points. Well, let me do it. Hopefully I don't derail the damn thing. There we go. Backwards handle. Why is it backwards, Dovetail? Why? Alright, flip them over the other way. Which I can't do from over there, obviously. See, this one's right. This one says diverging route, and we are going on the diverging route. How about that? Now, let's just have a look at the other points that are in here, because I don't really want to crash into those tank cars. Those ones are wrong. And those ones are wrong. So it sets some of them for you and not others, but that's okay. Alright, back we go. So, into reverse. Remembers the right direction for the handle this time. You notice it's rolling the other way now. Before it was rolling downhill, now it's rolling uphill. You know what I should do? Let's put that off for a start. Rear center headlight on. Front left, front right. Front center headlight off. That's better. And cruise our way out of the plant. We're going to couple up to some other tankers by the look of it. I've gone past where I'm supposed to stop. Donkey. Donkey. Locked them up. Yeah. That's one set of flat spots. So I think I'm supposed to go back down there and get those other tankers. So I'm going to need to put that down. I'm going to need to put that up. And then I have to go back here. And that one's set straight, which is correct. Start him moving while we're waiting. And come and set this one. How funny is it that you can set the camera from a set of points? Why didn't that change? It's like the Cane Creek ones. It's confused. Here he comes. These are a Widowmaker, I reckon. I was trying to find out whether German railways actually still use these couplers. And it wasn't completely clear, because they have some with Staffelberg couplers, and they have some with the American-style knuckles, and they have others that actually do have these. Yep, locked him up again. Bang. Oops. Well, they're coupled apparently. Was that what I was actually meant to do? I confuse things mightily. Am I supposed to get them from the other end, do you reckon? Can I get them from the other end? I think I've screwed this up completely. I think I didn't follow the instructions. Let's just have a look. So I had to uncouple from the tankers, stop at the head shunt, which I did, but it doesn't think I did do that. Sigh. So it doesn't think I stopped at the other end of this siding. So I am coupled at the right end of these. But let's just go in there. Let's go and do what it wants. Let's go back to the head shunt. Sigh. All because it doesn't think I did. Maybe I didn't stop in just the right spot for it. That'd be right, wouldn't it? Let's try not to lock the brakes up this time. Alright, let's jump back on there. Gotta do it. Alright. Back we go. We're just going to make a quick trip down to the other end of the head shunt. Let me just... Yeah, that is where it wants me to go. Missed a step. Don't think we need the wipers anymore. It's not raining. Of course they stop in a shit spot, but that's okay. That'll do. It wouldn't be one of my streams if I didn't stuff something up. I could just go to the next one, but you know, shunting's fun. How fast are we? 20 kilometres an hour. Let's give it a bit of a gentle brake application. A bit more. Oops, locked them up. It's very slippery here. They lock up so easily. Oh, I see. I didn't go far enough. I didn't go right up to the buffers. Bike cracks. Right, now it'll want me to go back where we were. On the other end of those carriages. Surprise! What was I saying about before about carefully following the instructions because we're in a scenario and then I promptly didn't do that? Bum.
That always happens. Everyone does that.
Yep.
It's called human nature.
Yes, it is. We all don't pay attention and we all take shortcuts that we shouldn't take. Give that a very light apply and come and change these points when it's gone past. Flip that. Come on, flip it. There we go. I can't even walk across the tracks here. To go up. Now I can do it. There's a very shallow, invisible wall there. Hey, it did stop. Okay, here it comes. Oh, I didn't go back far enough, did I? Wally. Looked kind of like it was right on the spot. So let's try on this side. Let's do something amusing. It will wheel spin. I wouldn't have thought a hydraulic loco would wheel spin, but there you go. Locked up again. That is the lightest amount of braking possible, and it locks up. Alright, let's go back. Oops, wrong way. Let's go back and couple up. Get over the invisible wall. There we go. What about 3 cars to go? Very light brake application. don't want him to stop. It's right now someone cruises past on their little bicycle and smack. Hit by a train. Come on, little locomotive.
They'll probably ride right through you.
Cars do. Come on. You roll everywhere else but here. Clank. Ah, coupled. Alright, off we go outside. In reality, would be sitting here for 2 or 3 minutes at least while we charge up the brakes on the carriages. And that might actually be happening, because that squealing would suggest their brakes are still on. What does the air pressure look like? Brakes are definitely still on. Come on, release them. Why won't it release? Well, the brakes are on because they really are on. Let's apply them and then try and release them again. No? You gonna do it? No. Alright, we'll just drag them. Since they're being uncooperative. Gives it something to do anyway. Now, are their wheels turning? That'd be an interesting thing to look at. They seem to be. So even though the brakes are on, the wheels are turning. Go figure. Where's this bloody light? Ah, I give up. They're definitely connected to brake hoses through. You can see them there. That's kind of an interesting view. Hope this bush isn't prickly. Do it by hand then. Fiddling with that got me a reward, that's funny. Just want to come up here and see what our little signal says. The little white lights are on so I can come out. Which one's the radio? That. PZB breaker cover. It looks like a phone to me. Okay. I wish you could use a little remote. That'd be cool. Are we going to go on the correct track? Looks like we are. Another little commuter train down the other side there. Yeah, does this thing still think the brakes are on? Yep. Oh, every time I release them, it gets a bit lower. No, back up again. No. That's okay. What would a game be without a few bugs?
That's it, they'll sort them out eventually.
They may not. Dovetail have a pretty good history of sorting out game breakers. But, things that aren't game breakers, they do tend not to. So, handle off, which is there. That one's released, which is fine. I assume you also want me to put the reverser in the middle and put the throttle at neutral. And probably put the headlight off, but now we want... How do we do tail lights? Are we rolling? No, it's a bus moving. It's alright. Can't see how to do tail lights. No tail lights. Let's go get in the other loco. Door. Now, just so I don't forget, do have to go and flip that release and then hold. They should be fine where they are, I think. That'll be famous last words when I have to come back and change them, won't it? And I do believe you have to get in this side or the scenario gets upset. Now, even though they're on at the other end, I think they're fine anyway, so it's flipped them at both ends. All good, by the looks of it. Converting screen wipes. Is AFB turned on? No.
AFB. Zugbeeinflussung.
Reset that. Release our brakes. That is released. So in theory, we can move. Promising. Getting a little blue bar. It gets to 10. Let's see if the brakes go off. That would be a no. So we probably do have to go to the other end and release those brakes, don't we? So let's go and do that. Let's just put you on. See, it's done everything else for you except release these. Come on, down the steps. And while you can flip back and forth between the cabs with the magic camera, it's like, nah, gotta walk. Alright. Let's put him to release. Let's try again. No power this time. Come on, you. What are you doing to me, train? Yay! Come on, brakes. Release. I think it's no releasey the brakes day on this scenario. Nothing. I think we're going to give up on this scenario, which is sad because it ran perfectly yesterday. Because it just don't want to. We didn't apply the parking brake or anything stupid. Nah. All right then. It's a good thing I ran it yesterday and got my gold medal. So we'll go off to the next thing that we're going to drive, which is the BR146.2. Rather than fiddle around with that one forever to try and figure out what's wrong with it today. So jump into timetable mode and we want the BR146.2, which is a fun locomotive to drive. I think we what do you reckon? July? That'd be summer for them, wouldn't it? And maybe a little bit of rain, a little bit of wetness on the rails. Can't have any snow because it's July. Need clouds. It's got to be windy, surely. Okay, off we go then. And we want to run the S1 Coswick to Dresden. That's a little bit early in the morning. Let's run this one. You can see I ran that one yesterday. So let's run this one. 31 minutes. 39 minutes. Ah, this must have some adverse signals. Let's run this one. That looks like it'll be fun with PZB turned on, because it'll make me work for my money. Hey, do I get paid? What? I think I only need about 900 more followers.
You don't get paid.
Where's me train? Where is my train? We're not even at the right station.
Can't afford that one.
Remember that bug I talked about at the start where sometimes you turn up at the wrong station when you pick a service? There it is. When was that in the stream? That's 1 hour and 9. So let me just make a note of that.
Ready for some exercise? Nice long walk.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I will clip that out and submit that as a bug. Now I have some evidence. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're gonna, because I know it worked yesterday, we're going to do what I should have done. Maybe that's why that one's a longer service, because you have to walk to your train. That'd be funny. S1 Coswick to Dresden. That was the one we picked, wasn't it? The 731. No, we picked this.
Could be.
We picked this one, the 703. I'll need that for the bug report. Sorry to delay people while I walk. So let's try this one. Yes, you get an extra 9 minutes to walk 20 kilometres to where your train actually is.
You could say it's by design.
Yes. Their service desk is remarkably like everyone else's, and they do often say that's not actually a bug. Yay! There's a train, but why aren't I in the cab? Yes, I know I'm in driver mode. Wait. Wait. Stop stealing my train, you bastard. It's not that one. It is that one. What is going on? What is going on?
You missed it.
It just left. Well, that's a new one. What was that service? That was the one after the 703, wasn't it? What is going on? It's going to be bug reporting festival later on today.
It's one of those new Tesla trains.
You know, just out of interest, I'm going to drop back to Steam. Look at that. You can see all the games that I've got. And I'm going to start this game again. Because I kind of think it's gotten to a confused place. And as you peruse my Steam library, some of those things were bought for me by my kids. They're not my fault. Hey, Dad, play this with us. All right. Now we're going to run the exact bloody same thing I did yesterday. Even though I wanted to run a new one. We want the 146.2 in July. And we're going to run that same service because it worked. Excellent. As Monty Burns would say. Now, if I don't turn up in a train this time, I'm going to be sad. Hey! We're in a train! Look at that! Okay, so we need to put the reverser on so that we can open the doors. Platform is on which side? Right side. Good-o. And let's put on some wipers. Let's turn on some LZB, which we don't need. PZB and CIFA. Park brake is not on. This loco looks way too familiar. What loco are we in? Why is it the same dash as the 185? What? I don't think this is the right dash. That's okay. All good. We'll pretend it's exciting. Okay, let's keep setting up headlights reduced. We should already have our pantograph and circuit breaker and these things. They're fine. We want only instrument lights. I can't have it without the dash. Okay, that's fine. Can I turn it off this way? No, I can't. Yeah, I can. Yoo-hoo. Okay, let's set the AFB to 40 kilometers an hour. I haven't heard it say AFB. Come on, where's my switch? It's there. Come on, you can find it. You can find it. Yay! Why isn't it talking to me? And are our doors shut or not? They are shut. Okay, is it going to let me drive? That's the question. Yeah, I've clearly forgotten to do something. What have I forgotten to do, Roy? Because it's not talking to me. Did I put the pantograph down, maybe?
Those switches on the back behind the seat?
No, they should be fine. So, park brakes released. Those are all fine. Okay, can put brakes on. That's moving. Let's try. Ah! Don't know what I did, but whatever I did made it work. Alright. Let's just get rid of our little marker. And we are on monitoring, so we can't go above 45 kilometres an hour. That's what that little flashing 85 means. And we have a green signal coming up. And the S just tells us we're running on the S-Bahn route. And a CIFA. Why did I make it rain? This will be harder to make it see the signals. Oh well. I'll live. We're all going to die. Eventually. The rain does make me wonder looking outside, because I'm pretty sure our weather forecast was for rain and cloudy day, but it's a beautiful sunny morning.
Out of the sky.
CIFA. Don't do that, CIFA. I don't like you. Okay, we've come off monitoring. I don't remember seeing a speed sign. Let's just take it up to 80. Because I don't remember a little square sign telling me how fast I'm allowed to go. We have to stop in a moment anyway. So we will power off. Have our first station stop coming up. Coming in a little slow, that's alright. Better than the other way round. Alright. Even coming in that slow, I overrun the station. What a useless individual. Alright, doors open. That would be the left-hand side. Look at them all just standing there in the rain. Perfectly good shelter. No one's in it. You want me to leave all those people behind? You're nasty, game. Look, there's still people getting in. And it wants me to leave them behind, Roy. What do I do? Customer service fail. Sorry, people. You should have run faster. Alright. Oops. Brakes off. So I'm so used to the other one that now I want to brake. Yep. What are we doing, train? We're gonna go? Come on. It's making the noise like it's gonna go. Yeah, now we get a blue bar. So what was different between last time and this time? Nothing. There goes the 185 with a freight train. I don't have to acknowledge this signal because it's
Restarted?
green. Oh, who knows. Now, just to quickly cheat, since I haven't seen a speed sign. 120, okay. So we can go up to 110. Our next station's 1.3 kilometres away. 115 will do. Give it a bit more wiper. Because it's wet and slippery, I'm going to start braking all the way out here, even though it's a fair way out. Green signal.
Seefahrt. Seefahrt.
Squeeze that last little few meters out of it. That'll do. Doors open. This station's more popular. Must be because it's got a roof. Now, what does that sign say? Don't jump in front of trains? And here we go with the customer service failures again. Doors closing.
Don't lean against the train while it's about to start.
Ah, who knows. I waited a long time, that one. Let's see if that makes any difference. Oh, actually it did. I went back to 0 too early. The blue bar's just taking a while to come up. And brakes are going off. That's the little gauge you can see on the right hand side there. And away we go. I have to admit I kind of like this sort of service because you're doing a lot. Whereas the really long services that run from one end of the line to the other without stopping anywhere can be just a little bit boring. Although PZB can make them interesting because you have to pay attention. You don't get a choice. Green signal. That tall one is for the track next to us. And you know it's a proper commuter railway when the second you get up to speed, it's time to start braking for the next station. Must all be waiting for a different train. Standing there in the rain going, well, we don't care. It's just wet. We're German, we're tough. Bus train. Oop, Mr. Shiny Shirt. He's off to the disco. Oh, we've got red lights on the front. Have to have a look at that when we're in there. You gonna go? Sounds like you're gonna go. There he goes. I think we're wheel slipping a bit. Let's give it a bit less juice. .5 to our next station. Running a little late on the timetable there. Green signal with a white dot and a yellow signal.
You'll have to make up for that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot happened all at once then. Yellow signal and CIFA and trying to brake for a station. Bit of everything. No, I don't think I'll be making up time, not if I'm running on yellows, Roy. How come there's no rain at that angle? When I move, the rain stops and then it starts again. That's kind of funny. I never noticed that before. Close doors.
It's like it's not rendering the droplets while you're moving.
Yeah, I kind of think so. And I'm just going to bring my my LZB, sorry. No, my AFB. Getting my German acronyms wrong. My AFB back to 40 kilometers now, because I just noticed we're back on monitoring after that yellow signal. Come on, train, you can do it. Pull ahead. Release the brakes. You're really not going to release the brakes. I shouldn't have had to do what I just did then. But that's okay. Bit less throttle because we're wheel slipping. What's this signal up here? That would appear to be green, so I should be able to go back up to full speed when I get to there. And I shouldn't have to acknowledge this one. And in theory I can release the PZB, but I'll just let it sit on monitoring for a little while. This red signal here is not for me, it's for the other track. Yay! Back to line speed. And off we go. We're not even going to get to line speed before it's time to brake for the next station this time. think this is the station we spawned at when we didn't have a train. Just stop here. Wonder how much of the back of the train's hanging out the back. Let's go have a look. Yeah, a little bit. It's alright. They've got an easy step down. It's all good. No one's getting off anyway. And doors locked. Brakes off. And away we go. See, this time I didn't have to manually release the brakes. It did do it by itself. Like it should have at the last station. At least it's accelerating without slipping this time. So far. Spoke too soon. Trainload of pink and white containers. Why did it power for a moment then? That was weird. I think I didn't finish my sentence about DTG's history with non-game breaking bugs. There are some bugs in TSW2, which is the third version of Train Sim World, I want to say. It's TSW, TSW 2020, and then TSW2. That came out in the first version that have not been fixed. There is one train that has no brakes whatsoever. And apparently not being able to stop is important. Oh, I'm on time. What's going on?
That's interesting.
How did I become on time? Should keep the doors open when I'm on time, but I'm not. Because my customer service skills are high. Go on. Power up, release the brakes. Yay! We've got a speed reduction sign coming up, that orange thing. And it wants us to drop down to 70. So I'll start doing that. And I have to acknowledge it as well. It's too far. And we're on monitoring with 1000 hertz as well. So while the line speed wants us to come down to 70, the train wants us to do 85. But that's okay. Now if you want to come down to just below 70, 65 will be fine. We've just had a CFA so we can look outside.
Zwangsbremsung.
Good thing that signal was yellow, not red. The square one is now where the 7 applies from, the 70 zone.
Sifa, Sifa,
Release the brakes.
Sifa, Sifa,
Okay. Doors open. Just while the doors are open, let's go look. This is quite a complex junction here, with our lines going that way towards Dresden, and all of these overhead structures, and even more lines over here, and a road underneath. Ow. Ow. You notice I drew the line at the concrete truck. Alright, doors closed. Brakes off. And hopefully, away we go. That signal is green, so I don't have to acknowledge it. You gonna go, train? It's doing something. There it goes. It's the power of Siemens IoT.
Zwangsbremsung, 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 Zwangsbremsung.
Now the question is, BZB stopped me, but why? I need to go back and have a look.
Zwangsbremsung, Zwangsbremsung, Zwangsbremsung.
Yes, I know. You emergency stopped me. I want to go back and see why.
Zwangsbremsung, Zwangsbremsung, Zwangsbremsung.
Or is that the wrong end?
Zwangsbremsung, 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 Zwangsbremsung.
So that signal was green, because I looked at that. Why did it stop me?
Zwangsbremsung, Zugbeeinflussung.
Okay. Reset that. We're back on monitoring, so come back down to 40, and away we go. Come on, release the brakes. You know you want to. Yay. Some things happen with PZB that I just don't get. There's no magnet on the track, I wasn't going too fast, and the signal was green, so I didn't have to acknowledge it, yet PZB stopped me. Hence the Zwangsbremsen. It's a bit like having an overexcited child yelling in your ear, "Stop, stop, stop!"
Sifa, Sifa,
I don't think it was CIFA that stopped me. I think it was PZB. Because I wouldn't have gone into monitoring if CIFA stopped me. But that's okay.
Sifa, Sifa, Sifa.
Lovely stop. Right on the money. Next signal is green, but it does have a speed zone, so I'll not be able to watch us depart here because I have to acknowledge a signal. Actually, I wonder if the button works from outside the train. Let's find out. You should depart now. So there's a roof, and she stands in the rain. Some people are just clever, aren't they, Roy? It's gone over the magnet. Ah, you can do it from outside the train. Excellent.
That's it.
Wipers on again. We've come off monitoring, so we can go back up to... Oops, not that far.
Sifa, Sifa.
About 55 is what we want. Because with German trains, if the limit's 60 and you do 61, so we've got a
Zugbeeinflussung.
speed change going down to 80, which is interesting because we're doing 60. But if you've got a speed set at 60 and you do 61, it will stop you.
Sifa, Sifa.
Green signal. Can't see what this signal is. Must be facing away, I hope.
Sifa, Sifa.
I reckon this 1A, 1B, 2 would be a project manager's decision. No, we need another brake stop. I'll just call it 1B. We'll be fine. Dresden HBF at 8:39. Right, a couple of minutes late. It's all good. We still have red lights on the front. I haven't fixed that. Red lights. Yeah. I don't think I've got them turned on, but they're just red. Come on. Beginning to wonder if I'd shut the doors then, but I must have, because it's going to move. Sifa. Is this the last stop for this one? Yes. No. 2 more stops. And then I've got another short service to run after that. Stopping a bit early. Bit enthusiastic on the braking there. I have a blinking green signal ahead. And a Sifa. So I'll have to come down because it's indicating 50 kilometers an hour. So we'll come down to 45. Doors closing. Brakes off, and off we go to Dresden HBF, which is the final stop for this train. No juice. Come on. Second time lucky. Because we're currently in a 60 area and we're going to be dropping down to 50, because that's what the 5 on the signal means, I have to acknowledge this one because it's a change in speed. So as we go over the magnet about now,
Zugbeeinflussung. Sifa. Sifa.
this is where you get your conflicting instructions where the driver just has to know what to do. This signal would appear to be yellow and enforcing 50. 5 on the bottom means it's coming up, 5 on the top means now. So I have to be doing 50 when I go through this.
Zugbeeinflussung.
And coming into the last stop for this service. And you can see this station's on 2 levels. It's this upper level and the lower level down there. I kind of wish SIFA was like the alerter on American trains. The alerter on American trains, its timer gets cancelled if you touch the control, because you're obviously awake. I'm going to overshoot this.
Beeinflussung.
So I just acknowledged that red signal up ahead, otherwise bad things would have happened. Okay. That's it for this service. And shortly we'll be jumping on to another one. I've moved the rail a bit. Let's see how we did. We weren't too bad on time. A couple of minutes late. But I've run this service before, so I won't get a medal. How close did I get to 905? 10,000 off. Stopping distances would have wrecked that mostly. Okay, now we want to... We're going to run a Talent 2 which is another electric commuter. It's a double-ended rail motor, essentially, except it's electric. And we're going to do that one in March. And let's not have any rain this time. Let's have some clouds. Let's have some wind. And we want the PR422. Where are you, 422? Where are you hiding? There you are. So we've seen a few of those running around. We're going to run one of these ones. And it probably doesn't matter too much which one we pick. Hopefully it'll actually work. So, group. You can pronounce that. I'll let you. It's going to Coswig. I know that. There's its big brother there, the 442. Ah, a dark service. Let's engage dark mode then. So, cursor forward, master key on, not uncouple. Let's get the doors open on the left-hand side. Headlights. Train lights so the people inside can see. Don't need to worry about temper mat. Pantograph should already be up, I think. Yep, it is. Now, turning on PZV in this one. It's over here somewhere. There. Oh, it's hopeless. CIFA, PZB, and the other PZB. Don't think we need to turn anything else on these ones. If I come away from that, there you go, you can see the panel. So what we turned on was in that second row, we turned on 3 switches there. Alright, let's lock the doors and get out of here. So this is a slightly different driving experience on this one. We don't have AFB on these ones. Brakes off. And away we go. We are in monitoring, so we have to stay under 45 kilometers an hour. You can see that there. So the flashing 85 is warning me we're in monitoring. And we have a signal that's not quite green, so we'll have to acknowledge that too. It's mostly green. In the well-lit areas, I like the new night writing. That 10 says that we can go up to 100 once the back of our train passes that, and we come out of monitoring. Alright, we've gone out of monitoring. The 85 has stopped flashing, so we can go up to line speed, which is 100 kilometers per hour. Headlights work as well as they do in Dovetail games by the look of it. This one doesn't talk, so you get the whistle and you look around, look at all your things and go, what's going on? 3.5 k's to the next stop. Now this does have a sort of speed controller where I could set it to 95 and then press, I think, that button and it will hold that speed. Then I'd have nothing to do. Now, driving without most of the HUD, I still have the stop at thing because I don't have enough route knowledge to know where I'm supposed to stop. But I've turned off the next signal, I've turned off the speed, and I've turned off the desktop HUD. This is another signal that's not completely green, so I have to acknowledge it, and I have to start coming down to 60 kilometers an hour. So we've got the 1000 Hertz warning, the 85 is flashing. And I have to get down to 60 k's or less. And CIFA. And not quite at 60, nearly. Alright, we're just under 60 k's, so that'll be fine. We're coming up on our next station anyway. Acknowledge this, because this is the 60 enforcement. The 0 point's not quite right for this train on the rail driver. Doesn't have separate brakes. This one, it's a combined handle for power and braking. Towards you for power and away for braking. Which is one of those ones is a nightmare if you're playing with a keyboard. All right. That's an interesting artifact. Enjoying our inside-outside view, just pointing out it's not me doing that.
And there are people still sitting in there.
Well, they should be. They're going to the next stop. All right. Off we go. And we have the 60 advisory board here. Acknowledge that. This signal, the red one, is not for me. Mine is the green one, a little bit further up. In theory, I don't have to acknowledge that one because I was already in a 60. But better safe than sorry. Should have another speed zone here somewhere. To go back up to 100. Do need to slow down a touch because I'm just over 60, so if I go over a detector it'll stop me. Head safer then. This must be downhill because I'm constantly braking to maintain just on 60. I'm wondering if I've missed a sign. Because I would have thought I'd be allowed to go back up to line speed here. Gonna cheat and check the HUD because I reckon I've missed a sign. I have. So we're allowed to do 120. Let's fang it. I must have missed a 12 somewhere. Green signal. Nice dawn effect. Sifa. I do wish you could move the next stop thing. I'd love to have it down underneath the instruments. Because up there in the top left on such a big monitor as I run, it's kind of annoying. Safer again. The 321 boards, and we have a signal coming up which is green. No need to acknowledge that. Sifa. At least when you hear the pounding of my super loud keys in this train, it sounds like I'm pressing train buttons. Watch the speed. Sifa. Green signal. Sifa. I was about to say yellow signal, but it's not. Mine's green. The first one I saw was yellow. And that's for the other line, though. But I do need to gently start slowing down because I do have a station coming up fairly soon. Green signal. Another green coming up. Green with a white light. Cephar and a green signal at the same time. Cephar. (6:15) on the clock, which is about right. Nice. Opens the doors. Swear that train just went through a red signal. But it might not have. Might have gone red as it passed through it, I suppose. Maybe. I like that the clocks on the platforms work. It's a nice touch.
It is.
Go, train. Go. Get out of here. To go back inside. What's it doing? It's doing nothing. Why do I have no power, Roy? Now I have power. It's just because I was outside, isn't it? You know, in traditional Australian shit-stirring fashion, this next station I would have to call Whiny Ebola. Green signal. At least on this railway, green does mean go. There are railways where it doesn't. Start braking for Whiny Ebola. Cephar. Green signal. Station's coming up on the right here. That's the kind of spot a rail fan would get to for their photo. Oh, he was lucky. Maybe I'm putting the power on too early after I shut the doors. No? I think maybe it's just got a bug. Yeah, there it goes. Wrecked my rail fan shut. Would the photographer on the roof please get down? That's what he said, wasn't it?
Probably.
Like the Australian version, that would have been something more like, "Get off there, you dickhead." We have a speed advisory board coming up of 100, so we need to acknowledge that and start slowing down. And CIFA. His brake handle is sensitive on the rail driver on this loco. Come on, I need you to be going slower. I have a blinking yellow light, which means I have to go slower again. Have to get down below 85, which is fine. Coswig is the last stop for this service, so we're almost at the end of the day. Then I think I have to paint some tombstones or something like that.
For your Halloween decorations, I take it.
Yep. Double yellow with a yellow bar. Acknowledge that and slow right down. And it's stopping me because I didn't slow down fast enough. And I don't think I can release it here because it'll punish me. Alright. I can't override it. Let's try with the buttons. I can't even put the cab lights on. Ha! So I wasn't allowed to do it with the keyboard.
Switched off and switched on again?
No, it'll be fine now. I wasn't allowed to do it with the keyboard buttons, but I could do it with a button on the train. That shouldn't matter though. Now I can't power. Why not? It's gonna now. Alright, off we go again to Coswig, our last stop. Kinda thought I acknowledged that one, but maybe I did not slow down quickly enough. I shall watch the video back afterwards and try and work out what I did wrong, so that I do not do it again. We're going all the way over here. And there was a magnet just on the track there that I had to acknowledge, so I avoid getting stomped. And I think that's it for this run, which will also be the end of the stream. Locking the doors. And chucked out of the chair, which means an AI person just jumped into it. And a gold medal. Excellent. Despite being stopped once for emergency stop. So interestingly, I didn't get stopped for going too fast up there.
Well done.
But I did get stopped here, so it mustn't have read my acknowledge, because I saw it pop up on the screen. Maybe my timing wasn't good enough. So when I went through that signal, which would have been about there, it was warning me that this speed change was coming, and obviously didn't acknowledge it quick enough because it stopped me. Or it thought I wasn't going to slow down fast enough to hit that. All right, that's okay. That's probably explainable. So that has been Riesa Dresden. So that's it for today's stream. The mysterious voice on the chat has been Roy. Thank you, Roy, for joining in. And it's time to go and paint some stuff for Halloween decorations, because I kind of said I'd do it yesterday and kind of didn't. So I'll kind of do it today.
See you all.
And then I might do something really exciting like mow the grass. So all in all, Riesa Dresden, happy that I bought the pass thing that let me get this route. Would I buy it individually? Yeah, probably. It's fun. It's an interesting route. It's got a lot of varied traffic in it. There's fog in the shed again. It's, yeah, worthwhile. It's got a few bugs. I'm sure some of them will get fixed. Anyway, enjoy yourselves. Have a fun Sunday, or if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, have a fun Saturday. And chat to you later. Bye now. I welcome any and all feedback. Feel free to comment on the video. Constructive criticism is welcome, especially if I've got something wrong. I stream every Sunday morning starting at 8:30 AM, and I also do ad hoc streams from time to time during the week. Please subscribe and click notify to avoid missing out. Subscribing helps me by helping me see what content is good and how it helps the channel grow, or doesn't, as the case may be.